When I tell people about flying gliders and I tell them I can stay up all day long, the first thing they always ask is, well, how do you go? This has been a big problem for many years. Okay, so in the old days we tried baggies, and pilots threw them out the window, and they went and they stuck on the wings, and they stuck on the tail, and sometimes they stuck on the instrument probe sticking out of the tail and took out all the instruments. No good. And then we tried mounting a flush piece of plumbing, and that didn't work so good because aside from the nasty yellow stain, it's very corrosive and it destroyed the landing gear and got into the rudder and components around there, and that was bad. That didn't work at all. Some pilots tried a tube in the back of the landing gear, and maybe you even have to extend the gear in order to use it, but that didn't work so good. It worked. I flew it a minute, and the first time it worked great, and then it froze up, and then the catheter blew up like a big balloon. It's very bad. Look at the camera over. Anyway, that didn't work at all. So most of these systems are really problematic because they corrode the rudder support. So you have things like this piece of rudder support that came. Well, I know it's pretty frightening. It came out of a plane that I used to own. That cost a few aviation units to repair. Here's the rudder horn. Not good at all. To avoid corrosion, we need a nice long tube away from the fuselage. When I bought this glider, I asked the factory to provide a relief system. And you got to know, when you make requests like this, they don't assign the best and the brightest. And the guy that I got was, well, not the best and the brightest. Anyway, so this guy came up with this long tube that was underneath my leg in the cockpit, and what was supposed to happen was I was supposed to take the tube out from underneath my leg, stick it down through the hole, hook up the plumbing to myself, go, and then reverse the procedure without spilling everything all over the cockpit. And not only that, in addition to using hundreds of parts, the guy made the inner tube too small. You need at least a 1/4 inch ID. And it was not strong enough so it wouldn't bend under air load, so it went directly into the dumpster, wasted a good aviation unit. After I threw the original into the dumpster, I had to make something different, a retractable system that was a little bit easier to use. So you can see in this slide, what I did was I have it's an acrylic tube that extends down, Bowden cable. You pull the knob on the panel and it pulls the Bowden cable, and the tube goes down, and then the constant force spring there retracts the tube. So this worked pretty well, but it was a little bit annoying to have to hold the handle while flying, and it was also prone to the tube would bend a little bit at my normal 120 knot cruise speed. So hence had to do the Mark VIII. For the original retractable unit and also the Mark VIII, there's a convenient tube in the cockpit for easy hookup and stowage underneath the cushion when not in use. Okay, a lot of people have been really concerned about, what will the Rules Committee do? Because the Rules Committee has had a habit of outlawing innovations I brought to the soaring community. So, for example, when I introduced the first flight computer that had a database of points and 4D navigation around a task and time estimation and integral wind with a vector wind and final glide around turn points, etc., 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 they outlawed it. Fortunately, it was overridden by the SSA Board of Directors. The next time, shortly thereafter, we introduced GPS, but that was going to ruin the sport. So that was not permitted in the US until much later than other countries, as usual, and it did not ruin the sport. And then most recently, when I worked to help create PowerFlarm and bring that to the United States, there was some discussion, but fortunately they did not decide to listen to the wind again. But what about the Mark VIII? Are they going to outlaw the Mark VIII? I have good assurances that's not going to happen. What we really should be concerned about now is, instead of preventing the technification of the sport, as Carl was so worried about, now it's going, I know it's scary, it's going in the other direction because, well, we're going to have real-time weather in the cockpit. It's going to be mandatory, because what kind of fools would be out there flying around amongst thunderstorms and low visibility Uvalde if you don't have weather in the cockpit. Anyway, the Rules Committee is much more concerned about that than the Mark 8, so not to worry.
The Mark 8 is controlled on the panel. In the fully retracted position, we have green, that's good to land. Extension by pressing the button down. Yellow is good to go, and then we retract again. Green, good to land.
I know Boggs wanted a haptic indicator on the hookup, but I stuck with the yellow LED.
Let's take a look at the operation below the seat pan. I'm holding the tube where it exits to connect into the cockpit area. And when I extend it, you can see the carbon fiber tube going down and the tube unfolding. And then retract. And finally, the flow test.
The Mark 8 will be available from all major glider manufacturers, and I understand Lange is going to provide it as standard feature on all future Lange gliders, because Lange likes to copy designs of mine and not compensate me as agreed, and besides, no solution is too complicated for a Lange glider. Right, Axel? Anyway, time to upgrade, get a new glider, get it with a Mark 8, and we'll be seeing you at the field.